Hey guys, this is Scortling, and I'm doing another deck profile here. Not sure how long it's going to be before I upload this one. I'm recording a couple days after the blood profile, but this is going to be Leonard's deck, his new Aqua Force. So let's jump into it because I don't want to hit the time limit again like I almost did on the blood. The starter is Officer Cadet Astria. She's only a 4K, but she provides a ton of pressure, which is what Aqua Force is good at doing. If she boosts an attack that hits a Vanguard, you can counterblast one and put her into your soul to restand one of your rear guards. So she gives you another attack if the attack she boosts hits, which is pretty much bound to happen eventually. So yes, she is definitely the starter of choice for this deck. A lot of people apparently like Eric. We just find Astria to be the better choice for a deck like this. For Blue Flight Dragon Transcore Dragon. Transcore is the break ride for Aqua Force. He's one of the better break rides out right now, apart from Dauntless. His skill is when you ride an Aqua Force grade 3 on top of him, or an Aqua Force on top of him rather. They gain plus 10,000 for the turn, and when they attack, your opponent must discard a card from their hand. If they do not discard a card, then you gain plus 1 critical, and they cannot normal call units to the Guardian Circle from their hand. So it kind of forces them to discard a card, unless they really can take a double crit attack. So yeah, 4 of him, because he is huge power and pressure and 11k base and beautiful. Next is Last Card-Revonn. 3 of him. This guy is great when your opponent's at 4 damage, not so much when they're at 5. His skill is Counterblast 1 when he attacks a Vanguard. If the total number of units rested in the front row is 3, so say you have 2 rested rear guards, and then your Vanguard. When you attack with your Vanguard, you have 3 rested units in the front row. So you can counterblast 1, and he gains plus 3,000 and plus 1 critical. And then his other skill is counterblast 1 for plus 2,000. But the limit break is the main skill that's useful there. And it's especially good with Transcore. When you break ride, you're forcing them to discard a card, and they can't really no-guard you after discarding the card because you're still swinging 2 crit. And then last is Blue Storm Supreme Dragon Glory Maelstrom. He's limit break 5. He's one of the 3 ultimate break cards in the game. His skill is Counterblast 1. When he attacks a Vanguard, you can pay the cost. He gains plus 5,000, and your opponent cannot normal call grade 1 or higher units to guard against him. Meaning no perfect guards. They're stuck with grade 0s. So this guy's also good on a break ride turn. He's also good just late game in general when your opponent might not have many 0s left in their hand. Because, he's forcing at least 10,000 shield just to guard him with that ability, unless you're against a cross ride. And they can't perfect guard you, so yeah. Now, onward to the grade 2s, we have 4 Lazarus. He's a 10k vanilla. That's really all there is to it. He's a very good ride for your grade 2 ride, especially with all the stuff running around now. Having that high base ride is good. Yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to it. He's a solid card. he's just a solid card that makes good columns. So, yeah, that's why there are 4 of him. Then we've got 3 Twin Strike Brave Shooter. This is the 12k for Aqua Force. They don't have an archetype, so instead, he gains plus 3,000 if the total number of units you have rested when he attacks is 2 or less. That includes the units in his attacking column. So you pretty much have to attack with him first, but he's a 12k if you do. And that's why there are only 3 of him, because having more than 1 on the field isn't really that good of an idea. Otherwise, he's great, though. 2 Optics Musket Titan. He's an 8k. If you have a limit break for Vanguard, he becomes an 11k. Normally, I like these things a lot because 11k is still decent. Not as good as the 12ks, but still good. It hits most Vanguards alone. But you only run 2 in this deck because Glory Maelstrom isn't limit break 4. Glory Maelstrom actually really messes that guy up, so only 2 of them in case you do have use for him. And 2 Tier Knight Valeria. We would run more of these, but there aren't actually many ways to get 4th attacks in this deck, so she's not as useful. Lazarus ends up being better most of the time. However, when Astria is still on the field, or when stand triggers are hit, she becomes quite useful indeed. So there are 2 for the times that happens. But I mean, kind of situational. We don't run 4th attack cards in here because you don't really get 4th attacks with this deck. What we do run, however, is vanillas. Lots of them. They're really good boosters, and really good rides, and decent columns overall. So, yeah, 4 of them. Plus, Theo just looks awesome. You cannot deny that. Next should be the obvious 4 perfect guards. Emerald, Shield, Pascal. These are all the new set 11 artwork. Kind of beautiful. I like the set 8 one more though, but that's not the point. They're a perfect guard. You really can't run too many decks nowadays without 4. Especially a deck like this. You kind of need 4. So, yeah, not much else to say there. Grade 1 lineup is pretty self-explanatory. 2 Mercenary Brave Shooter. It's a grade 1. It's the grade 1 10k attacker. It has the same ability as Twin Strike, except it's a grade 1. We don't really run more than this with him because he's a 7k. He's just a 7k booster, and we kind of took up a lot of space with grade 3s in the deck. And usually you're not going to be attacking with him. He is decent for early game attacks, though, if you do draw into him in time. But other than that, he's just there to be a 7k booster. So, yeah. And last is... oh, not last, never mind. Well, we got 2 Battle Siren Dorothea. She's a 6k, but if she is boosting the 3rd battle of the turn or more, and it's your Vanguard, then you gain plus 4,000. Which is kind of nice, especially with Revonn, because Revonn has to be the 3rd battle as well. So, yeah, she's just sort of really nice overall, because 10k booster, that's pretty much unconditional, other than the fact that you need to have a full front row to actually get 3 attacks. But, yeah, so I mean, she's consistent 10k booster, which is nice in this deck, because suddenly Glory Maelstrom becomes a lot more threatening. And 1 Light Signals Penguin Soldier. For pretty much the same reason I run Rising Phoenix in the Blood. You don't really have any use for the soul, so you might as well get rid of it to draw a card. I mean, he's a 5k booster, so he's not horrible. Actually, yeah, he kind of is. But he's the thing. He gives you a draw, so he's not bad. He's not bad at all. I wouldn't run more than 1, though, because then you're kind of pushing it. More so pushing not having columns in this deck, whereas in the Blood it was more, pushing your soul to its limits. So, for triggers, we have 5 critical triggers, 4 supersonic sailors, and 1 jet ski rider. Supersonic sailor is nice in this deck because this deck actually counterblasts a good bit, so you can toss a supersonic sailor in soul if you really have to unflip a damage. Though getting rid of the 10k shield is kind of not as good, but if you really need it, it's there for that. So yeah, 4 of that one, and then 1 of the jet ski rider crits, just because it looks cool. Cooler than the other criticals, at least. 4 heal triggers, because Leonard refuses to use Ice Flow Angel, so he has the trial deck chick instead. 4 heals, because that's just the standard nowadays. That's pretty much always been the standard. 4 heals, because healing is good. It gets you further away from losing. It's not as good when you have Glory Maelstrom on Vanguard and you need to be at 5 damage, though. And for the last trigger, we have a beautiful lineup of 7 mass production sailor stand triggers. Because this guy's cool. You can run 16 of them in your deck, so you might as well take advantage of that. Leonard's running 7 now. I think he was planning on testing the deck with 16, just to see if it actually works. And if that was the case, he was going to replace probably a Lazarus with Algos, who is basically Valeria, but he draws a card instead of retiring a unit. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck, actually. The reason so many stand triggers are run, well, I mean, not a ton, but 7 stand triggers is because a lot of times, especially with Revonn, you are attacking with the Vanguard last in this deck. So, you kind of want stand triggers for that, for extra pressure. And then I guess just to make Leonard happy, I'll show off his sleeves. Last card Revonn sleeves on last card Revonn. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully I did this deck justice for Leonard. Gave a decent enough reasoning for all the cards run. The deck runs very nicely. It can't quite stand up to my awesomeness with the blood. But, no, the deck is very good. It's been holding its own at locals nicely. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, rate. I guess that would be liking. Subscribe if you want, and I will hopefully be getting an Ancient Dragon deck profile done soon as well for another one of my friends. He just needs one more Spino driver. But yeah, okay. So, thanks. I can't really do that. Camera's too close to the ground. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.